Hello everyone, this is Paleo Nerd here with a brand new video. Today is a bit of a break from Jurassic Fight Club analyses in order to introduce another series for this channel. This is Natural History, where I go through a specific clade or family, listing every known member of that group and briefly profile each. I may also include any possible members of that group whose placement is questionable or not fully accepted. Keep in mind that when it comes to dinosaurs, the classification of certain animals can change over time, so what I list here may change in the future. So today, we're starting this series off with Tyrannosauridae, a superfamily of Coeluridae theropod dinosaurs characterized by unique skeletal features, mostly in the skull and pelvis. This group existed for a huge part of the Mesozoic era, from the Middle Jurassic to the Late Cretaceous period, about 166 to 65 million years ago, and fossils assigned to this group have been found throughout the Northern Hemisphere, particularly in Europe, Asia, and North America, although possible tyrannosauroids have been found in South America and Australia. Although most people think of the larger, more derived members of this family like T-Rex, tyrannosaurids didn't start out as apex predators with short two-fingered arms and massive jaws. Instead, they started out as small carnivores with long three-fingered arms that often had to be careful not to become prey themselves. This is most prevalent in the earliest form of tyrannosaurids, the family Proceratosauridae. This family of tyrannosaurids consists mostly of small predators with three fingers and can be distinguished from other basal tyrannosaurids by the presence of a head crust running along the top of the head, likely used for display purposes due to their thin and fragile nature. There are only 5 named members of this family so far, all of which are from the Old World, specifically Europe and Asia. The family has been dated as far back as the Mid Jurassic, and the last known specimen has been dated to near the end of the Early Cretaceous. The earliest known member of this family, which happens to be the namesake of the group, is Proceratosaurus bradleyi, or Bradley's ancestor to Ceratosaurus, referring both to the now incorrect theory that it was an ancestor to Ceratosaurus and to F. Lewis Bradley, the man who discovered the first and only known fossil of the animal in 1900. The theory that it was an ancestor of Ceratosaurus came from the fact that the type specimen, a partially complete skull, seemed to have a small nasal horn similar to Ceratosaurus, then classified as a Coelurisaur by Friedrich von Huene, one of the most prolific researchers in Europe at the time. However, in the 1980s, it was found that Ceratosaurus was not a Coelurisaur, but rather a more basal theropod. As such, Proceratosaurus's classification was reconsidered. It was originally considered a close relative of Ornitholestes, another Coelurisaur, but in 2010 and in subsequent studies of its phylogeny, Proceratosaurus was found to be a basal member of Tyrannosauridae. As such, the Proceratosaurid family was formed, named after Proceratosaurus, the first genus in the group to be classified. Proceratosaurus lived 166 million years ago, during the Bathonian age of the Middle Jurassic period, and was found in the White Limestone Formation in what is now England. In life, Proceratosaurus is estimated to reach a length of between 2 to 3 meters or 6 to 10 feet long, a height of between half a meter to a meter or 1 to 3 feet tall at the shoulder, and a weight of around 75 kilograms or about 165 pounds, and as such was a relatively small animal. Unfortunately, not much is known about this animal, as only the type specimen has been conclusively attached to it. Although from the razor-sharp teeth found in the skull, we can conclusively say that Proceratosaurus was a carnivore, and likely ate whatever it could catch, from lizards to small mammals to frogs to even baby dinosaurs. It is the only named dinosaur from the White Limestone Formation, although footprints suggest that it likely coexisted with large sauropods, whose young may have served as prey, as well as another theropod, possibly a megalosaur, which were the apex predators of Europe during the Jurassic period, and as such may have preyed on Proceratosaurus. It is possible, given the similar time period and location, that the sauropod footprints could belong to Cetiosaurus or a close relative, while the theropod footprints may belong to Megalosaurus or a close relative. While many portrayals of this animal show it with a Ceratosaurus-like nasal horn, it is far more likely that it had a much larger crest that extended from above the eyes to the nose, like many other Proceratosaurids. It also likely had a covering of filaments, a trait believed to be common in all Coeluridae. However, this is mostly speculation, and until we find more remains, that's all we'll really know about this animal. The next member of this family is from the same time period as Proceratosaurus, and we know just as much about it. Found in the Atat Formation in what is now Siberia, Kileskus aristotocus, or lizard of noble origin, lived 166 million years ago during the Bathonian age of the Mid Jurassic period, and is estimated to reach a length of 3 meters or about 10 feet long, a height of about 1 meter or over 3 feet high at the shoulder, and a weight of around 75 kilograms or 165 pounds. Kileskus was named as recently as 2010, and is one example of a situation where an animal's genus name is not derived from Latin, as is common for scientific names. In fact, Kileskus actually comes from Caucase, the native language of the region in which it was found, and simply translates to lizard. Like Proceratosaurus, very little is known about it, as it's only known from fragmentary remains from the jaw, hand, and foot. While it lacks evidence of a crest, it has been classified as a Proceratosaur due to similar features in the jaw fragments to Proceratosaurus, and as such it likely did have a crest like other Proceratosaurids. Another similarity to Proceratosaurus is the fact that once again, Kileskus is the only named dinosaur of its formation, although remains of a heterodontosaur, stegosaur, and a mamenchisaurid have been found, but they are currently unnamed. It is likely that Kileskus hunted these animals for prey, or at least their young. While there is no evidence of other theropods in this formation, it is very likely that Kileskus was not the top predator, and it's possible that some larger predator lived in the region, perhaps a metriacanthosaurid, which were common in Asia during the Jurassic period. Again, like Proceratosaurus, Kileskus was likely covered in filaments, but unfortunately we don't know much about this animal, and only additional fossil remains can tell us more about this creature. The next member of this family is known for much more complete fossils than its predecessors. Guanlong wukai, or five-colored crowned dragon, is another dinosaur with a non-Latin scientific name, as not only the genus name but the species name as well are derived from Mandarin. It was discovered in 2006 in the Xiongguanlong Formation of western China, which has been dated to the Oxfordian age of the late Jurassic period, about 160 million years ago. This is one of the most well-known Proceratosaurids, and is the main basis for filling in the blanks for its predecessors. The animal is currently known from two nearly complete individuals, an adult and a juvenile, which each help paint a very good picture of what this creature looks like in life. It is estimated to reach a max length of 3 meters or about 10 feet long, a height of 3/4 of a meter or 2.5 feet high at the shoulder, and a weight of around 75 kilograms or 165 pounds. Guanlong is also the one of two Proceratosaurids to be discovered with a nearly complete or complete crest, giving us a pretty clear image as to what it looked like. It was also the first Proceratosaurid to be classified as a tyrannosaurid shortly after its discovery. Needless to say, Guanlong, like its predecessors, probably had a niche close to a fox or jackal, and likely preyed on early mammals, lizards, pterosaurs, and smaller or similarly sized dinosaurs, such as Guanlong, the earliest known ceratopsian, the group that includes Triceratops, Haplochirus, the first and largest known alvarezsaurid, Limosaurus, an herbivorous theropod, and even the young of sauropods like the colossal Mamenchisaurus. Of course, it wasn't the top predator, and likely served as prey for the 8-meter-long Metriacanthosaurid Sinotyrannus, and it may have even competed for prey with Xiongguanlong, a basal saurosaur outside of Tyrannosauridae that was close to the same size. Once again, although it lacks physical evidence, it is very likely that Guanlong was covered in a layer of filaments. The next member in this group is a relatively recent discovery. Described in 2012, Yutyrannus hawley, or beautiful feathered tyrant, lived 124 million years ago during the Aptian age of the early Cretaceous period in the famous Yixian Formation of Liaoning, China. It is known from 3 different nearly complete individuals, an adult, a subadult, and a juvenile, and is estimated to reach a length of 7.5 to 9 meters, or 25 to 30 feet long, a height of 2 to 2.5 meters, or 7 to 8 feet tall at the shoulder, and a weight of 1 to 2 tons. As such, Yutyrannus is the second largest Proceratosaurus and the largest known species of dinosaur with direct evidence of filaments, beating out the previous record holder, an early therizinosaur called Bipiosaurus. At such a large size, Yutyrannus is the first Proceratosaurid to have the niche of an apex predator. Adult Yutyrannus had no competition aside from other Yutyrannus, and would have eaten whatever they could kill, ranging from small herbivores like the basal ceratopsian Stokesosaurus to larger herbivores like the early hadrosaurid Xiongguanlong to perhaps even juvenile sauropods that might have lived in the region. However, Yutyrannus wasn't always classified as a Proceratosaurid, as it was originally considered a basal Pantyrannosaur outside of Proceratosauridae, but was later put in the family when further analysis proved it to be far more basal than originally thought. Despite appearances, it does indeed possess a crest, albeit a much smaller one which was far more ridge-like. The next and last known member of this group, beats Yutyrannus, is the largest of Proceratosauridae. Sinotyrannus cazoensis, or Chinese tyrant from Kazuo, was discovered in 2009 in the Jiufotang Formation in northeastern China, and has been dated to 120 million years ago during the Aptian age of the early Cretaceous period. It is estimated to reach a length of 9 to 10 meters, or 30 to 33 feet long, a height of around 2 meters or 7 feet tall, and a weight of around 2.5 tons. In fact, it was so large that it was originally classified as the first tyrannosaurid, but was later reclassified as a proceratosaurid. Like Proceratosaurus and Kileskus, Sinotyrannus is known from fragmentary remains, and as such, missing information is usually inferred from closely related genera. It is considered especially closely related to Yutyrannus, as the two are often considered sister genera, meaning Sinotyrannus likely had a similar coating of filaments to Yutyrannus. Like Yutyrannus, Sinotyrannus was this top predator of its environment, preying on anything it could capture, from smaller animals like Stokesosaurus, Megaraptora, pterosaurs, and birds, to larger prey like an unnamed titanosaur from the region. It can also be speculated that early hadrosaurs were present in the region, and as such would have served as a common prey item for Sinotyrannus. Unfortunately, Sinotyrannus is the last known Proceratosaurid, and went extinct at the end of the Aptian along with the rest of Proceratosauridae, likely due to environmental changes or new prey animals that they were not adapted to deal with. However, the lineage of Tyrannosauridae was far from over. Enter Pantyrannosauria. This is a group of basal tyrannosaurids outside of Proceratosauridae that has been dated as far back as the late Jurassic period and extends into the Mid Cretaceous. Like Proceratosaurus, Pantyrannosaurs started out as small predators with 3 fingers, but around the early to mid Cretaceous they started to grow bigger and fill the niche of top predators. However, unlike Proceratosaurs, Pantyrannosaurs lacked large head crests, usually only having small keratin crests above the eyes, and are also typically more derived than Proceratosaurs. They also had a much wider geographical range, as fossils assigned to this group have been found not only in Europe and Asia, but North America as well. The earliest known member of this group perfectly shows the small beginnings of tyrannosaurids. Aviatyrannis jurassica, or grandmother of tyrants from the Jurassic, referring both to the Jurassic period it lived in and its position as a basal tyrannosaurid, is known from partial hip bones and possibly some teeth found in the Alcobaça Formation in Portugal, which has been dated to the Cameroonian age of the late Jurassic, about 155 million years ago, making it the earliest known pantyrannosaur. It is also the smallest known tyrannosaurid, with an estimated length of 1 meter or 3 feet long, a height of 1/3 of a meter or 1 foot tall at the shoulder, and a weight of 5 kilograms or 11 pounds. It was discovered in 2000, but was originally classified as a species of Stokesosaurus, which we'll talk about later, before it was given its own genus in 2003. Aviatyrannis likely hunted prey smaller than itself, like amphibians, lizards, birds, and perhaps the young of giant sauropods that may have lived in the region. It also likely coexisted with large theropods, possibly a megalosaur like Torvosaurus, which may have preyed on the small tyrannosaur occasionally. Like other early tyrannosaurids, it was likely covered in a coat of filaments, but otherwise we know very little about this animal, which seems to be a common trait in early tyrannosaurids. Hopefully more fossils will be discovered that will tell us more about this creature. The next member of this group is the earliest known tyrannosaurid found in North America. Stokesosaurus clevelandi, or Stokes's lizard of Cleveland, referring both to William Lee Stokes, a geologist who discovered the first remains, and the Cleveland Lloyd dinosaur quarry where it was found. This quarry is part of the massive and famous Morrison Formation and lies in the state of Utah. Current dating places this quarry in the Tithonian age of the late Jurassic period, about 150 million years ago. While it is known from fragmentary remains, current size estimates place Stokesosaurus at a length of 2.5 meters or 8 feet long, a height of 2/3 of a meter or 2 feet high at the shoulder, and a weight of around 60 kilograms or 132 pounds, making it the largest known Coeluridae in the Cleveland Lloyd quarry. It likely hunted prey smaller or the same size as it, including smaller ornithopods like Dryosaurus and juveniles of other dinosaurs like Camptosaurus, Stegosaurs, sauropods, and even other theropods. Stokesosaurus likely didn't have an easy life, as it could easily serve as a snack for the numerous larger theropods in the region. These included Allosaurus, the largest and most common theropod, Torvosaurus, Martiosaurus, and Ceratosaurus. It is also possible that Stokesosaurus may have competed for food with fellow Coeluridae ornitholestes, as remains that may belong to the animal have been found in the quarry. Stokesosaurus's placement within Tyrannosauridae has shifted slightly in the past, as a 2013 study placed it within Proceratosauridae, closely related to Sinotyrannus. However, a 2016 analysis later placed Stokesosaurus outside Proceratosauridae and within what would later be defined as Pantyrannosauria. There have also been a number of closely related tyrannosaurids classified as a species of Stokesosaurus in the past, only to be classified as a distinct genus later on. These include Aviatyrannis, as mentioned before, as well as the next member of this group. Juratyrant langhami, or Langham's Jurassic tyrant, referring both to the Jurassic period it lived in and Peter Langham, a fossil collector who discovered its remains, is a sister taxon to Stokesosaurus that was originally classified as a species of Stokesosaurus until it was described as a distinct genus. The partial skeleton, which serves as the holotype, was first discovered in 1984, but the animal was not formally described until 2008, and it wasn't until 2013 that it was given its own genus. Juratyrant was found in the Kimmeridge Clay Formation in Dorset, England, and has been dated to the Tithonian age of the late Jurassic period, about 149 million years ago. Current estimates place it at a length of 5 to 6 meters, or 16 to 20 feet long, a height of 1 to 1.5 meters, or 3 to 5 feet tall at the shoulder, and a weight of half a ton. Like Stokesosaurus, Juratyrant was placed in Proceratosauridae in 2013, but a 2016 study put both genera in Pantyrannosauria. While the two are sister genera, Juratyrant appears to be bigger than its North American cousin, and as such likely hunted larger prey. While its main prey was likely basal iguanodonts, it may have also had run-ins with the 5-ton stegosaur Sinotyrannus. However, due to the deadly tail spikes and the fact that it was 10 times heavier than Juratyrant, it is unlikely that adult Sinotyrannus had anything to worry about, although juveniles would have been more vulnerable targets. Juratyrant also coexisted with the giant sauropod Juratyrant, although once again adults would have been too big to take down, and Juratyrant likely targeted more vulnerable juveniles. There is no evidence of a larger theropod in the area, so it's possible that Juratyrant may have been the top predator of its environment, meaning that Juratyrant would be the first tyrannosaurid to fill such a niche. It is also the largest of the European tyrannosaurids, and a perfect warning for what is to come for this group. The next member of this group shows that even during the Cretaceous, tyrannosaurids weren't all big apex predators yet. Dilong paradoxus, or unexpected emperor dragon, refers both to Dilong's relationship to T-Rex and to its unusual skeletal features. It was one of the earliest Pantyrannosaurs to be classified, as it was discovered and described in 2004. Fossils of the animal have been found in the Lujiatun and Jiangshangao beds of the Yixian Formation in Baipiao, China, dated to about 126 to 125 million years ago during the Barremian age of the early Cretaceous. It is estimated to reach a length of 2 meters or 7 feet long, a height of 1 meter or 3 feet tall at the shoulder, and a weight of 15 kilograms or 33 pounds. Despite its relatively small size, it was one of the largest theropods known from the beds and may have filled a top predator niche. Despite common belief, Dilong likely did not coexist with fellow tyrannosaurid Yutyrannus, as the two are from different beds of the Yixian and lived about 1 to 2 million years apart from each other. Dilong likely preyed on similarly sized dinosaurs like Bipedalosaurus, Psittacosaurus, Leoceratops, as well as birds and mammals. It may have had competition with similarly sized theropods, like the large compsognathed Sinocalliopteryx, which was a similar size. In fact, the only really large dinosaurs known from these beds are the large sauropods Dongbei Titan and Liaoninga Titan, whose eggs and hatchlings may have served as food for Dilong, but otherwise they likely had no predators. Dilong also has preserved evidence of filaments which likely served to keep it warm. Next, we have the last known tyrannosaurid from the continent of Europe, Eotyrannus langi, or Lang's dawn tyrant, referring both to its status as a tyrannosaurid and to Gavin Lang, a British fossil collector who discovered the first specimen in 2001. It was found in the Wessex Formation in the Isle of Wight, England, which has been dated to the Permian age of the early Cretaceous period, around 130 to 125 million years ago. It is estimated to reach a length of 4 meters or 13 feet long, a height of around a meter or 3 feet tall at the shoulder, and a weight of 130 to 220 kilograms or 300 to 500 pounds. It likely preyed on small herbivores like Hypsilophodon, Stokesosaurus, and juvenile iguanodon, but it was not the top predator and may have occasionally been preyed on by Neovenator, an 8-meter-long basal carcharodontosaur. It also coexisted with the Spinosaurid Baryonyx. Although Baryonyx ate mostly fish, it is unlikely it would have posed much of a threat to the Tyrannosaur. Eotyrannus lived with numerous other animals of all shapes and sizes, and honestly, the Blessex formation deserves a video all on its own, so I won't list them all here. In terms of its placement in the Tyrannosaur family tree, Eotyrannus is believed to be closely related to Juratyrant and Stokesosaurus, although it was briefly considered a Megaraptoran, a type of theropod that will be addressed later. Like I said earlier, Eotyrannus is the last known tyrannosaurid from Europe, and it is likely that the group disappeared from Europe around the early Cretaceous, although the exact cause is unknown. While tyrannosaurids would become extinct in the continent they originated from, they continued to thrive throughout the northern hemisphere, in Asia and North America, and it wasn't long before they began to replace carcharodontosaurs as the dominant predator of the northern hemisphere. The next member of this group shows tyrannosaurs begin to more closely resemble the images that most people have of the group. Xiongguanlong bimoensis, or Grand Past Dragon from the White Ghost Castle, in reference to the location of its discovery near Jiuguan, as well as a rock formation near the fossil site, was found in the Jinmenbao group in northern China, which has been dated from the Aptian to the Albian age in the Middle Cretaceous period, about 125 to 100 million years ago. It is estimated to reach a length of 4 meters or 13 feet long, a height of 1.3 meters or 4 feet tall at the shoulder, and a weight of 275 kilograms or over 600 pounds. Discovered in 2008, it is the most complete tyrannosaur from the Mid Cretaceous, and has helped to fill a relatively large gap in tyrannosaur evolution. Its neck vertebrae are far more robust than earlier Pantyrannosaurs, likely to support its much bigger skull. This skull is more elongated than other tyrannosaurs, giving it an almost Spinosaurid-like appearance. Xiongguanlong had other characteristics similar to more derived tyrannosaurids, such as a short, broad brain case and expanded skull structures that allowed for more muscle attachments in the jaw, giving the animal a much stronger bite force. However, due to its elongated snout and long blade-like teeth, it is unlikely that Xiongguanlong had a bone-crushing bite like that of T-Rex. Regardless, Xiongguanlong was the top predator of its environment, preying on herbivorous dinosaurs such as the small ceratopsian Archaeoceratops, as well as juveniles of large herbivores like the 8-meter-long Ornithomimosaur Xiongguanlong and the 6-ton sauropod Xiongguanlong. While it is only known from fragmentary remains, Xiongguanlong was likely covered in filaments. However, it is not the only tyrannosaurid known from the Mid-Cretaceous, as a fellow Pantyrannosaur that may have been closely related was classified as recently as 2016. Timurlengia eotica's genus name refers to Timur, more commonly known as Tamerlane, the Central Asian conqueror and founder of the Timurid Empire in modern-day Uzbekistan, while the species name eotica translates to well-eared and refers to CAT scans of the animal's skull, which showed long inner ear canals equipped for hearing low-frequency sounds. It is considered a mid-sized tyrannosaur, with an estimated length of 3 to 4 meters or 10 to 13 feet in length, a height of over a meter or 3 feet tall at the shoulder, and a weight of 170 to 270 kilograms or about 370 to 600 pounds. However, these estimates are based off subadult specimens, so adults may have been slightly bigger. Fossils attached to the animal have been found in the Bisekti Formation in Uzbekistan, which has been dated to the Turonian age of the Mid Cretaceous, around 90 million years ago. While fossils of the animal have been excavated from this formation since 1944, it wasn't until a brain case discovered in 2004 was analyzed by Tyrannosaur expert Steve Broussat in 2014 that the remains were identified as a new species. Timurlengia was named in 2016 and has since been considered a monumental discovery by further bridging the mid-Cretaceous gap of Tyrannosaur evolution. Like Xiongguanlong, Timurlengia has traits associated with more derived tyrannosauroids, like a larger skull and brain case and a stronger bite than its predecessors. It was likely the top predator of its environment, preying on similarly sized herbivores like the Hadrosaur levnosovia, the Ankylosaur bisectipelta, and the Ceratopsian Tyrannoceratops. It would have also preyed on smaller animals like the small Oviraptorosaur Synagnathasia, the Pterosaur Asdarco, as well as some of the marine fauna found in the formation, like fish, sharks, turtles, and even a currently unnamed plesiosaur. Overall, Timurlengia is a significant stepping stone in Tyrannosaur evolution, paving the way for the group to dominate the northern hemisphere and become one of the largest predators to ever roam the earth. Now, for the final segment of this video, I'm going to briefly go over some theropods that may be tyrannosauroids, but their placement within the group is not entirely set, and they may simply be other coelurosaurs or other theropods entirely. While some of these are from places where other tyrannosaurs are known to have roamed, like Europe and North America, others have been found on continents that no other tyrannosaur has ever been found in, like South America and Australia, which, if they are tyrannosaurs, would extend the group's geographical range to the southern hemisphere. First in this category is an animal that, if it is a tyrannosaur, may very well be the first tyrannosauroid. Iliosuchus incognitus, or unknown crocodile hip, is a dubious species of theropod known only from 3 fragmentary bones from the ilium, part of the hip. The fossils were discovered in the Stonefield Slates member of the Tainton Limestone Formation in Oxfordshire, England, which has been dated to the Bathonian age of the Middle Jurassic, about 168 to 166 million years ago. The holotype specimen was named by Friedrich von Huen in 1932, and its classification has been dubious ever since. From the remains, the animal is estimated to reach a length of 1.5 meters or 5 feet long, a height of 50 centimeters or over a foot tall at the shoulder, and a weight of around 5 kilograms or 11 pounds. We know very little about the animal itself, but it was likely a carnivore, which would have eaten anything it could catch, most likely small vertebrates like frogs, lizards, mammals, and baby dinosaurs. It coexisted with large sauropods as well as the large theropod Megalosaurus, the top predator of the time. Now, its status as a tyrannosauroid is nowhere near certain, and since the hip remains show many similarities with Megalosaurus, Iliosuchus may simply turn out to be a juvenile Megalosaurus, meaning this could be another case of what I'll call Nanotyrannus syndrome, where juvenile specimens of a certain animal are mistakenly classified as a separate genus. If it is a tyrannosaur, though, it would not only set a new record for the earliest known tyrannosauroid, but would also rival Aviatyrannis as the smallest known tyrannosauroid. However, this should be taken with a grain of salt until more remains are discovered, as based on what is currently available, Iliosuchus could really be placed anywhere in Theropoda. Next, we have a surprisingly small family of coelurosaurs, Coeluridae, which currently only consists of 2 members, Coelurus and Tanicolagrius. This wasn't always the case, however, as Coeluridae, and by extension Coelurosauria, was once what is called a taxonomic wastebasket from the 1980s until it was finally given a formal phylogenetic definition in 2015. This is when unrelated genera are placed in a single group simply because they don't seem to fit anywhere else. It was common not only for Coelurosaurs, but for Carnosaurs and even some genuses such as Megalosaurus and Ornithocheirus, but that's a topic for a later video. Anyway, thanks to phylogenetic bracketing, Coeluridae went from having dozens of unrelated theropods to having two members, Coelurus and Tanicolagrius, both of which are known from the Morrison Formation. They are somewhat similar, so I'll just briefly go over each. Coelurus fragilis, or fragile hollow vertebrae, which refers to the hollow and fragile bones of its vertebrae, is a coelurid which has an estimated length of 2 to 2.5 meters, or 6 to 8 feet long, a height of around 1 meter or 3 feet tall at the shoulder, and a weight of 30 kilograms or 66 pounds. It is the type genus not only for Coeluridae but for Coelurosauria as a whole, and was first described by famous paleontologist Othniel Charles Marsh in 1879, making it the first small theropod to be named from the Morrison Formation. From then on, it has mostly been found in Utah and Wyoming in the Lake Como, Brushy Basin, and Cleveland-Lloyd members of the Morrison Formation, and it has been dated to the Cambrian age of the late Jurassic period, about 153 to 150 million years ago. It coexisted with common Morrison animals like Allosaurus, Stegosaurus, Camarasaurus, Diplodocus, Dryosaurus, Camptosaurus, and even fellow Coelurosaur Stokesosaurus. It likely preyed on small vertebrates like lizards, mammals, and baby dinosaurs. Next, we have Tanicolagrius topwilsoni, which translates to Top Wilson's long-limbed hunter, referring both to the longer arms and legs compared to Coelurus and to George Top Wilson, father of the man who provided financial support for the scientific research that led to its discovery in 1995 and naming in 2001. It is much larger than Coelurus, reaching an estimated length of 4 meters or 13 feet long, a height of over 1 meter or 3 feet tall at the shoulder, and a weight of 120 kilograms or 260 pounds. Fossils of the animal have been found in Utah and Wyoming in the Bone Cabin and Cleveland-Lloyd quarries of the Morrison Formation, and has been dated to the Cambrian age, about 153 to 150 million years ago. It coexisted with animals like Allosaurus, Stegosaurus, Camarasaurus, Ceratosaurus, Apatosaurus, Diplodocus, Camptosaurus, Coelurus, Stokesosaurus, and Gargoylosaurus, and due to its larger size and heavier build, it may have hunted similarly sized herbivores like Dryosaurus and juvenile and subadult dinosaurs. However, Tanicolagrius may not even exist as its own separate genus, as comparisons have been made between it and Stokesosaurus, meaning Tani may simply be a junior synonym of Stokesosaurus. However, this can neither be proved nor disproved due to the absence of a Tanicolagrius ilium to compare to Stokesosaurus's ilium, the most well-known fossil from the latter dinosaur. Overall, Coeluridae is a small group of 2 Coelurosaurs, or maybe even just one, that is constantly placed either inside or outside of Tyrannosauria with each analysis. Regardless, there is a lot more about these two I haven't covered in this video due to time constraints, but I will likely discuss this group more in depth in future videos. Next, we have the first possible Tyrannosaurid from the southern hemisphere. Found in the Eumeralla Formation of southern Australia, which has been dated from the Aptian to the Albian of the early Cretaceous, about 120 to 106 million years ago, Timimus hermannii, meaning Hermann's Tim mimic, has a lot of backstory involved with how it was named, so I'll do this slowly. The genus name Timimus refers to 2 different Tims. The first is Tim Rich, son of Tom and Patricia Rich, who discovered the fossils in 1991, and the second is the Australian paleontologist Tim Flannery. The suffix mimus, meaning mimic in Latin, doesn't refer to the animal mimicking the Tims, but to its original classification as an ornithomimosaur. The species name, Hermanni, honors John Herman, a volunteer who helped at the site for several years. Like many dinosaurs from Australia, Timimus is only known from very scant remains. The only animals referred to the animal being two separate femurs, likely from an adult and a juvenile. As such, it is very difficult to classify, although paleontologists agree that it is most likely a Coeluridae, either a tyrannosaurid or a Unionlongine, a group of dromaeosaurs native to the southern hemisphere, with most paleontologists leaning towards tyrannosaurid. That being said, it was a pretty small animal, with an estimated length of 3.5 meters or 11 feet long, a height of 1.5 meters or 5 feet tall at the shoulder, and a weight of 45 kilograms or about 100 pounds. If it was a tyrannosaurid, it likely filled a niche similar to a fox, hunting smaller animals like the turtle Otwaemes, mammals like Tainolophos and Cryorichtes, and birds, as well as small herbivorous dinosaurs like Lialinosaura. It also coexisted with an unnamed ankylosaur, likely similar to Minmi or Kunbarasaurus, an unnamed iguanodont similar to Muttaburrasaurus, and two larger theropods, the first being an unnamed Megaraptoran similar to Australovenator, and the second being what might be a Spinosaur closely related to Baryonyx based on some cervical vertebrae. It may also have occasionally fallen victim to the giant chicotosaurid amphibian Iliosuchus, although dating for the amphibian is a bit spotty, so this isn't entirely certain. However, one unique thing about Timimus was discovered in 1996, when Ansuya Chinsami analyzed the bone histology of Timimus. Before I reveal what the actual discovery was, I should provide some quick context first. See, during the early and mid Cretaceous, Australia was much closer to the South Pole than today, meaning that it often got very cold in the winter to the point where it could get to below freezing. If you've watched Walking with Dinosaurs, you'll know what I'm talking about. Regardless, the analysis of Timimus's bones revealed that while other dinosaurs like Lialinosaura remained active all year long, Timimus may have hibernated during the cold winter months, when food would have been less abundant. Besides that, there's really nothing else we know about this animal, and given how poorly preserved fossils found in Australia tend to be, we may never find more fossils. Even then, it is likely that Timimus was still an amazing animal. Next, we have yet another possible tyrannosaurid from the southern hemisphere, this time from South America. Santanaraptor placidus, or Placido santanathieve, refers both to the Santana group in which it was discovered and Placido Ciudad Nuevans, founder of the Museum of Paleontology of Santana do Cariri. It is known from a partial juvenile skeleton and fossilized tissue unearthed from the Romualdo Formation within the Santana group in 1996, dated to the Albian Age in the Mid Cretaceous period, about 112 to 106 million years ago. It is estimated at a max length of 2.5 meters or 8 feet long, a height of 1.3 meters or 4 feet tall at the shoulder, and a weight of 18 kilograms or 40 pounds. It is the second largest dinosaur in the Santana Formation, dwarfed only by the 18-meter-long 1-ton Spinosaurus irritator, but larger than the 2-meter, 7-kilogram Compsognathid Mauritia. The lack of any known herbivorous dinosaurs in this formation suggests that these three theropods likely relied mostly on the abundance of pterosaurs known from the formation, which include Anhanguera, Tropiognathus, Thalassodromeus, Tapejara, Pterodactylus, and Tupuxuara. Given its size and build, Santanaraptor likely fed primarily on pterosaur eggs and juveniles, an herbivorous crocodilian called Iliosuchus, the young of other dinosaurs, and possibly even fish on occasion. Originally classified as a Megaraptora, a group of Coelurosauria which includes Oviraptorosaurus, Therizinosaurs, Deinonychosaurs, and modern birds, Santanaraptor was later identified as a simple basal Coelurosaur. It was first proposed as a tyrannosaurid by famous paleontologist Thomas R. Holtz Jr. in 2004, a position that was upheld in a recent analysis by Rafael Delcourt and Orlando Grillo in 2018. So, for the moment, Santanaraptor is currently considered the earliest known and possibly only tyrannosaurid known from the southern hemisphere. But it remains impossible tyrannosaurids for now, since this could change in the future. Still, it is interesting to think that tyrannosaurs, a group typically thought to be exclusive to the northern hemisphere, may have been just as common down south. And Timimus and Santanaraptor weren't the only possible tyrannosaurids from the southern hemisphere. In fact, if this next group proves to be tyrannosaurids, tyrannosaurs may have been the dominant predators of the southern hemisphere for a while, as well as in the northern hemisphere. Next, we have Megaraptora, a group of medium to large-sized theropods characterized by large hand claws similar to spinosaurs, as well as low and elongated snouts. Members of the group are typically found in South America and Australia, although some have been found in Asia, and they lived from the Birimian to the Santonian of the Cretaceous period, around 130 to 83 million years ago, almost 50 million years. Ever since the claw of Megaraptor was first unearthed in 1996, the classification of Megaraptorans has been a subject of much controversy, and they have been classified as everything from dromaeosaurs to spinosaurs to allosaurs to coelurosaurs. More recent studies have tended to alternate between placing Megaraptora within Allosauridae and Coelurosauria, with current analyses of the wrist structures of Megaraptorans currently classifying the group as basal Coelurosaurs. However, the group's placement in Coelurosauria has been somewhat inconsistent as well, as the analysis of the skull of a juvenile Megaraptor suggested that the group may in fact be basal tyrannosaurids. Now, currently, Megaraptora is considered to be a group of basal Coelurosaurs close to but outside of Tyrannosauridae, but further analysis could easily shift this around in the near future. Regardless, they are at the very least closely related to tyrannosaurs, and this rather interesting group will be further explored in a future video. Finally, we have a somewhat mysterious animal that hasn't even been formally named yet. Found in the Moreno Hill Formation in New Mexico, which has been dated to the Turonian age in the Mid Cretaceous period, the animal is commonly given the informal name Zunityrannus, translating to Zunityrant, referring to the Zuni Basin where it was discovered. It is currently only known from a single partial skeleton discovered in 1997, which currently lies at the Arizona Museum of Natural History, and is currently believed to reach a length of 2.1 meters or 7 feet long, a height of a meter or 3 feet tall at the shoulder, and a weight of around 18 kilograms or 40 pounds. When it was first discovered, it was originally classified as a dromaeosaur before later studies showed it to be a basal Coelurosaur, likely a tyrannosaurid. It coexisted with large herbivorous dinosaurs like the Hadrosaur jayawati, the ceratopsian Zuniceratops, and the Therizinosaur Nothornychus. However, these herbivores were several times bigger than Zunityrannus, and since Zunityrannus was quite lightly built, it is unlikely that it hunted these animals for prey, at the most hunting their offspring. Zunityrannus also likely ate small vertebrates like lizards, turtles, mammals, amphibians, and possibly any small ornithischians that could have lived in the region. It is unlikely to be the top predator, and likely would have fallen victims to other larger carnivores like crocodilians and possibly a larger theropod, likely a Carcharodontosaurus similar to Ceots, which dominated North America until the Mid Cretaceous. Nevertheless, Zunityrannus is indeed a tyrannosaur. It would help to fill a near 70 million year absence of tyrannosaurs in the fossil record of North America, from the late Jurassic to the late Cretaceous, about 150 to 80 million years ago. That wraps up the first part of this family, but before I end the video, there are a few things I would like to discuss. First, in the upper right hand corner, there is a poll where you can vote for which animal you want me to be covered in my next first creature profile. Since it will probably be out around Christmas time, I decided to make this my first holiday special. This means that the candidates for my first creature profile will all be prehistoric animals that lived in the polar regions, both north and south. As of right now, the candidates are as follows: Lealinosaura, Rapator, Iliosuchus, Cryolophosaurus, Lystrosaurus, Nanuqsaurus, Pachyrhinosaurus, and the dinosaur formerly known as Troodon. You may only vote for one animal, and the creature with the most votes will be covered in my first creature profile, which again will probably be out around Christmas time. Next is the current release schedule for the next 5 videos I plan to release. There are no actual release dates for these videos since I have no idea when I'll finish them, and the order may change. As of right now, the next video will be my first creature profile, where I will cover the winner of this video's poll. After that will be the scientific analysis of Jurassic Fight Club episodes 3 and 4, followed by part 2 for the natural history of tyrannosauroids, which will cover Eutyrannus and Tyrannosaurids, which will then be followed by another creature profile. Finally, to wrap up this video is something I'm going to do for all my series from now on, where I will reveal the upcoming installments in each series. Keep in mind that some of these may take a while to come out, and requests are still more than welcome. This is merely to show what I currently have planned for each series. For natural history, the current plan is part 2 for Tyrannosauroids, followed by a video for Megaraptorans, and then I also have planned episodes on Therizinosaurs, Alvarezsaurs, Ornithomimosaurs, Abelisaurs, Noasaurs, Dromaeosaurs, and others, some of which may be 2 or more parts. Well, that wraps up this installment in my natural history series. I hope you enjoyed it and that you learned something new today. I would like to give a special thanks to DeviantArt user Teratophonius for giving me permission to use his artwork in this video. I have included a link to his DeviantArt page in the description below, where you can check out the rest of his artwork. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.